Also, a Chicago production company is making a splash with their commitment to neurodiversity. NewsNation's Nick Smith sat down with the founders of Lakefront Pictures to learn more about their mission and to get a glimpse into their latest project.
Lakefront Pictures is an American company based right here in the heart of Chicago. They do everything from corporate videos to feature-length films. Their mission is clear. They're a production company committed to fostering neurodiverse leadership and inclusive storytelling. The co-founders are joining me now. Jennifer A. Goodman and Ryan Atkins. Hello to you both.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Absolutely. Jennifer, when you and I spoke, I said to you first, what does neurodiverse mean and why start a production company focused with that mission?
Absolutely. So to me, I think the important message is that not every brain sees things the same way. And a lot of people who are neurodiverse tend to be looked at as people who have certain behaviors or exemplify certain things that are different and are oftentimes judged and very misunderstood. And that misunderstanding can have a very high impact on that person, knowing that they're excluded or they're looked at differently. And I think it's a very important message, not just to be aware that they're different, but to have understanding and to truly understand that most of the time the intentions are good and their heart is in the right place. Their communication style might be different or their urgency might be different. And so for me, that has been something I've struggled with for the majority of my life, is people understanding that sometimes my communication style has been off-putting or has been urgent. And the intentions and the hope that I have with what I want to do are the complete opposite of what I've tried to convey.
And it's often seen as maybe rude or she's so aggressive.
Yes, and it's not that. My hope is to be a part of everything and to be included and also give opportunities to others, because I know what that feels like to be excluded from that world.
So when she reached out to you, Ryan, and said, this is what I want to do, was there a part of you that said, Jennifer, I just can't do this?
Yeah, a small part of me, I would say so, because that was, I am a conservative person by nature, very introverted, and I think that, and I often encourage this of other folks, I needed a little bit of a push. I wanted to do a smaller scale project, and she wanted to expand things, which is fine in most cases. And you know, I think if I were to have said no, thank you, we would not be where we are today. We'd probably be going down our own paths. And so I'm very thankful for the fact that she did push me to expand my horizons, and I encourage others who experience similar neurodiverse qualities to also consider that.
The Snowbound Christmas, starring Maddie McCormick and William Mark McCullough. The detour she never wanted became the Christmas she needed. And this is a story about not only a love story, but it's also focused on the neurodiversity you talked about.
Absolutely. So specifically, she is stranded and she is snowbound in front of this ranch owner and his spirited autistic daughter's home. And so it is a detour from when she's trying to get home to her sister Maggie, who is also on the autism spectrum. But it's also more about the detour in her own life. She was fast-paced, she always had to work, she always had to be on the go, and now she's being forced to slow down and take in the world around her. And the amount of change that occurs over the course of the movie and her performance, she did a profound job really elevating the character by showing one side of this character being committed to getting things done a certain way. And then after learning about Cassidy, who is our child, Allegra Carr, who is an up-and-comer actress, and the struggles that she had being on the autism spectrum, Ella, which is the character Maddie played, was able to start to kind of learn more about her sister through Cassidy and some of her behavior patterns. I think what's important is having the opportunity to really elevate people who don't understand, giving people the place and space to feel safe, learning about how others think. And this movie really thrives in that area. Cassidy has autism and she's on the spectrum, and we see one person with autism on the spectrum. And then Maggie, the sister of Ella, is also on the autism spectrum, and it's completely different. And no one person is the same.
And that's the takeaway.
And I think it's very important.
And we can all learn from that.
Absolutely.
Jennifer, thank you so much. Ryan, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.